let's take a look at the Tolite then right away and see what's going on. And then we'll go to the Hake Diaz. Again, we have, see, what's happened is, if we look at the ending of the refrain, it ends on what? A. This means we have transposed the D mode up to A. So now A is the final, pardon me, F is the final and A is the dominant. No, A will be the final, and then we go on up to C for the dominant. That's the confusing part about this, and they use it because they want to be able to have a B flat to work with within the piece. We'll see it worked around in a couple of places, but normally the B occurs for they can work with that B flat. Okay, so the structure pitch at the very beginning, da da dum to, and again if you go tolite, they decorated what? It is actually tolite. Try that. Tolite. Now do the two pickup notes. Tolite. See how that? In other words, those two notes of the torculus, first two notes, are simply preparatory to the real accent. So it's the opposite of the Ward method, where you would put the accent on the first note. You'd put the ictus right there. You got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 1, 2 is probably how it would go. Okay, at least when I remember how to work out the ictus where you put it. So you get la la la. Instead, it's la yada dum, or like 2, 3, 1 tolite. So I would practice it with the structure pitches first, then put all the ornaments in. So tolite is tolite again. Tolite. Now add the two pitches. Tolite. Now it's going to be portas. Ready? Portas. But actually it's going to be portas. Take a look at what's going to happen. Portas. So I'm going to go portas. Try that. Portas. Now the addition will be por, right? Portas. See how they decorated that? Right? Are we with it? I want to make sure that everybody's in line here, so you can get that distinction between structure and improvised embellishments.
And the structural notes are what?
All right, the structural notes, tolite is simply A,
Okay.
tolite, and in portas is por, so it's a B, and then back to A.
B-A.
C-A rather.
Is it
Yeah.
C-A?
Yes, B, yeah, just portas.
Okay.
That's the structure there. In
Okay,
fact,
that's
let's sing that. Tolite, portas. Now let's sing the embellishment. Tolite, portas. Get the feel of how a medieval early people at the ladder who probably created this thing somewhere in the 600s, about the last half of the 600s most likely. Now we're going to go rise up to so we suddenly das principes. All the way up to that to E. Principes. There's where they get their B flat in there. Okay, that's why they wanted that. You see, if they'd been down on an E, which if as a D mode, you would have E in there, and you can't. They couldn't change that. They only have a flat to work with, the B flat. They don't have an E flat. Complexity. Okay, so let's take a look at what's going on in Principes. You have two notes for clevas, and they are quick. You'll see it at lone on top there is the da-dum like that, And then we have two dots and a virga with a loop on it. The loop there is a liquescent, and it would be an augmented liquescent. If we put that into the new Salam editions, they'll add a little hook on the end of that.
Are you talking about prin?
I'm talking about prin the princess, the last note of the accent, principes. So that high E.
Which is the structure pitch.
Yeah, which is a structure pitch.
So the execution of that, we would close to the consonant, but because it's augmented. we
So,
would
yeah,
hold
and
it.
what you're gonna get is a feel of an A, C, E chord. Our ears would almost immediately get a triad out of that. If you take a look at da da tum, what we're gonna hear, then they finish it with pes. So they drop below that final, and which would be typical of second mode anyway. Princi. All right. I like what Lone did because they did two dots, which tell us it's very quick, and then they did the virga with the loop on the end of it.
I think that's what's the structure pitch of the third syllable of principes?
The structure pitch there is that last one, it's the A. Take a look what they've got, two dots and a small unchiness. They want you to stretch that third pitch.
The pes, principes.
The chi, oh, pes. Again, it's the last note, this one here. So what we've got is da, yeah,
Well,
da, 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 dum, principes. That's basically what you've got. Principes. Principes.
So ABG.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, EBG.
Yeah. So it's E, EA, which is the fifth, EA, and then finally G. Pes. Notice most of the ornaments are occurring, leading you into a structure pitch, what I call anacrusis, or they call anacrusis too. Anacrusis, that which leads into something else. So, try it, let's sing it. Principes. And then on vestras, they get you back up to the final of the mode. To the A, then tros, and to there's the dominant. And back to the final. So they've outlined again the dominant and the final. See the bivirga up there on which would be 1, 2, 3, 4, the fifth and the sixth note. It would be, all right, now that we got it up here, we would have these up here. La 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 la. And then we have the quilisma right there. See that weak pitch B for them. La 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 la. Let me get straightened here. Yeah, we've also got a tenate here, which would be right here, that one. So that's our structure pitch for them. They're emphasizing that. They've got a tenate on this note right here, so you're going to go la 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 la. And notice it's fast. So they get da da dum. It's not the slow version, but so you get Let's just sing that section and then put an S then. See how they're making sure that in a resonant building you're going to hear us. So I got us. Yeah, yeah. La 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 la. So trust. Try it. La. Oh, pardon me, I got it wrong. La. Oh, I should. Da, 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 da. Very good. Trust. Now, since they use dotted notes at the bottom, we're going to be moving rapidly right up through this and push off from that note. Get right in. Notice they're using those two pitches, C and an A, to hang the push or the stress on it. Right. Now let's take it from the beginning. Tolite, tolite, tolite. Now notice that has to be rewritten as a parectus and a virga. See, here's your parectus and the virga. And the parectus has the episema on that note right there. And they did it too. Parectus, tenere, and again at the end here. In fact, there's the loop, which means sound the S. So you get portas. Okay. No, parts roll the R. Pardon me, because it's the ending of the R.
Portas.
Yeah. Port. You do a little bit of portas. Let's do the roll. Portas. There it is. Okay. Now, principes. Now you'll notice you're going to have to keep a rather rapid tempo going, otherwise you won't have enough air to do all that.
Structure pitches, would you say vestras on the A?
That's right. Vestras, and well, we could also do it here. Yeah, see the tenete there? That's that note right here. So you get they just keep hammering those two pitches. This one especially, dominant, dominant, dominant. So you get then final. All right, let's try it with all the structured pitches, but let's overemphasize. Let's examine.
Vestras for the structure.
Yeah, so it's right there. Let's try doing it. And again, see, I think you almost have to drill it in order to get the feel of it. So, Yeah, I think we probably need to really stretch that one a little bit to carry us over to here, which then will lead us to here. There's that principle, have enough energy on your stressed accent to carry you all the way through all this ornament coming through. So, straw, here we go. Now we can take it from here. Tolite, tolite, tolite. what would have been better if instead of two squares, they used two bivirgas to make a bivirga. Both of these give the bivirga. And bivirgas are almost always very strong. And they lead to the second. And that, so that launches you right into the next ones, which is what? Pretonic, accent, posttonic, final. Here we go again. All the various forms of the syllable. Et, ele, va. So this time we do have the emphasis on the top note, unlike what we had over here, where we went over that top note quickly. Here, we're going to stress it. Et, le, va, yep, la. Et, ele, va, mi. So what did I do? Et, elevamini. Say that. Et elevamini. Or domini. Actually, they're going to wind up making this the principal one, and they're going to make this a secondary part of the accent. Et elevamini. Try that. Et elevamini. Let's do it again. Now let's put the ornaments in. Now what this forms actually is what? Melodic anticipation. Try. Again, this is also melodic anticipation before you get here. Let's take the whole word now. Et elevami. Now, most of us moderns probably would have just gone da tum tum, but instead they've got ta da 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 dum. They lead it in with those melodic anticipations.
Those melodic anticipations, are they sung slightly softer?
Yeah.
So they're like a pickup to your new.
Yes, it's kind of like you take your foot and you just kind of tap where you're going to go.
Is it almost like you're giving your neighbor, hey, here's our new pitch, and then you sing it for real?
Yeah,
It's almost like you're singing it underneath the echo of what's going on. And then you
exactly.
sing it for real.
So in the resident building, this is going to be fun. See,
Okay.
Because you hear the harmonies from the echoes.
and we're already beginning to get harmony with these things. That's why I already said there's a minor triad up there.
So you're hearing
Yeah.
the second. It's almost like you're listening to the echo. Hear the second, then you sing the second.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
Oh, the more you study these things, the more stuff you begin to find that's going on there.
Does it make it also more legato?
Yes.
Rather than punchy like.
Yes. Good. Let's test. Let's just have fun with that. Let's just punch it. You know, take those out and go. Et elevamini. Try it. Et elevamini. Yeah, that's where we wind up with a kind of crude. But instead, we get all this lovely, and again, the feel for me is you're in this small boat with the ocean swells. But they're not so powerful they're going to tip your boat over. But by golly, they're going to lift you up and let you back down and do all this kind of. You feel that kind of. It's almost like being those roller coasters, except much more smooth. This is real smooth swells working on you, so you're getting. Okay.
And my Latin is pretty bad, but the word elevate means be lifted up.
Exactly. And lift up the gates, the eternal gates. And of course, you're going to do this just constantly. It's getting, again, word painting going on, Steve.
Yeah.
It's very definitely word painting. Et elevamini. Yeah. All right. Yeah, so you've got, that's right, Cardine. In fact, what Lowen is saying, the lower ones are softer. Very often you're getting volume indications out of Lowen, and St. Gall is telling you about stretching. And that's why you get that both notes get stretched. But this second one is going to be softer. when St. Gall has this, it equals in loan. So you get medium sized, large, and back to small over here. So you get okay? So this shows how smooth it is. This shows you the relative volume that goes on with that. So smaller size, larger size, smaller size again. Stretched, probably mezzo forte, more toward the forte side, and then back again to mezzo forte. So kind of keep that in mind as we work between Lone and St. Gall. And one more pitch for the fact we need both of those notations because they're kind of like looking at a traffic accident. You get somebody on the north side and somebody on the south side, and they're both going to talk about the same accident, but they're going to have a different perspective. One will see something the other one didn't see. So people quiz me about, don't they disagree, Lone and St. Gall? Not really disagree, they simply have two different approaches to the same thing. So they don't really contradict, except rarely. And the closest thing they get to contradiction would be the use of that Oriscus for the Solicus. We had, right here. We saw two dots here, and down here we have one dot, but we also have the famous half moon, which is the Oriscus, which means there is a push in the St. Gall ones. You're going to crescendo on that second note up into this. And this is why Macquarol put the vertical episema under that second note. This is Macquarol's marking. He talks about that in the Paleofumencial when he talks about the Solicus. He says, I've put a vertical episema there to indicate there's something important about that note. So, and when we discovered how the Oriscus is used, it leans toward the next note by way of stress. It's kind of like a mini crescendo. We just got the one word there, and you can see how they treat each of these syllables. Two pickup syllables done rapidly. Eleva, and of course the melodic anticipation on that second note, you're heading up to here. Again, I treat that first note as a portamento. Et, ele, ba, and we went ba, and again I would lighten, so you get louder, softer, as you're saying, as Cardine said, all four of the notes get stretched. So you get le, va, mi, ni. Ready? Let's, va, mi, va, mi, va, mi. Back to, I love the way they build this thing, because you're going to lift up, and that's what Steve was talking about. There is that painting of the kind of lift up. And those gates are heavy, by golly. and there again, here's the forte. And what are they? They're eternal gates. So what do?
You make eternal.
There you go. Dot, dot, dash. Okay, we spit out on a nice word, eternal. Why not? If it's eternal, you got plenty of time to do this. So the eternal gates. They're constantly imaging for themselves what this text is doing. So, po, so you get po, and again, same thing. Louder, second word is softer, and there's the upside down question mark, the Spanish question mark, right there. And it begins with a small note before it. Well, actually, yeah, these are the two notes. Then you've got these two notes are represented by this complete thing. The little hook is the quilisma, and then the virga inflection. So if you draw it, you get that like that. Oh, Oh, you do the skid upwards. Po, po, oh, po. And what you're going to do is move right on beyond it to this large note. Po, oh, te. And again, loud, softer. Te. Then you pick up the speed again. A, dot, dot, dash. This little thing is a shorthand thing for etc. They use dot, dot, sometimes it's dash, but usually just 3 dots forming a triangle. Okay? And you can see the two, it looks like the second one's on a higher pitch in the lone version, but this straightens it out. It says they're on the same level. A. Now, how far do we drop? That could have been a second, but it happens to be a minor third. But you have to know the interval. All this is telling you that they're done rapidly, and the third note is down. A, ter. Now look at this. Ter. You make the liquescent by taking a nu and just making it what looks like a extended comma. Ter. And of course, in directing, then I would do a trill on the end of that. Ter, ter, na, na, and this is the most important note then. The last one there, on the na of nalas, there's the accent. Ter, na. And that's a tenere, should be tenati, I think. Hold on to that first note. Nalas. Let's do it. Nalas. That's how they did that. Let's back up that whole race then. Et elevamini porte aeternales. Et elevami porte eternales. Notice how they kind of echo each other. There's kind of call response going on in there. Where you get this and the les. Les. Hear the shading away. Notice I'm shading you down so that I can use each little noon grouping, like you get da 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 da, almost like an echo of what this was. There's all kinds of artful stuff going on there, which just gives this wonderful floating feeling that you get on that. Now, let's keep about the et, intro, yeah, et, and again, there's the a, aujete, stretch, epizemas. So those two ought to have tails on them. They ought to have, it should be virgas rather than just 2 square notes there. Because that's what the manuscripts give, is a bi-virga. They missed their chance. They missed it there and they missed it there. But the difference is that those 2 squares could have been a trishtropha, or no, a dystropha. I mean, 2 quick notes. Atom could have been dot dash. Oh yeah, be careful. Could have been dot dash. And in fact, the new notation will have those commas in there. They have something special for it. Let's get on to intro ebit. And again, they spin out, see all the use of a melisma for an accent. Remember, there's 3 uses. The Ambrosian Gloria is the tip-off for your response. The other one is cadences at the end, like this one, where we spin out and take off up from, the word finishes really right here, and then we have all this wonderful stuff going on to end it. Okay, yeah, we just keep going. Okay, 3 uses of the melisma, and both of them are used here. using it for the accent and using it to close off the piece. Okay, at intro E, 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 I would do E, B, this is B, it. Okay. Let me stick on la. I'm going to have you do la 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 la. Okay, what we did is we wound up at fifth mode. We've been in second mode, and all of a sudden, it's going to feel like fifth mode, da, da, dum, at that point right there. And they're going to pick it up then, Rex, to end the piece, and they're going to get us back to second mode. Okay, let's see how the emphasis, we can see how this thing is really stretched right there. God, they're hammering away on the dominant. At intro E, 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 B. Then pick it up right here. Bit, ready? Bit, which is quite different from what very often this is sung. Bit. No. There's all kinds of subtle moving here. Bit. Let's break it apart like that. We won't sing it that way, but we'll rehearse it. This is rehearsal. So you get on the word, or the word, the syllable bit. Bit. Let me get my machine going again. La 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 la. I'm going to go to la this time. La 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 la. And one more time on that kind of pounded rhythm. Ready? La 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 la. Now on bit. Bit. And of course you're going to do it without breaking the sound. So you're going to have a nice breath, I hope, because we got to sing all that on one breath. Bit, bit. Okay? You can see this is virtuoso stuff in it. All right? Now we can do an intro. At intro E, B. Now the danger will be that you don't give enough pressure on this note here, little diamond. You get trio E, E, B. So this is the last note at the change of syllable. It's the same rule that Palestrina carries on in the contrapuntal tradition, because he has always a longer note. It's the last note before it changes syllable. You watch him carefully. Later composers didn't. They didn't. But he always made sure that, for instance, in 4/2 time, where you have 4 half notes per measure, you've seen those kind of transcriptions, all right? I'm with the 4/2 time, and I've had a series of quarter notes. That's fast, you know. And all of a sudden, I'm going to change syllable. That last one cannot be a quarter note. It has to be a half note at least. And just watch your score. Palestrina. You will find he'll be moving and so be like this here would be like E, B. So even though you move rapidly through all these here, And lone picks it up with a little unchiness. And St. Gall does not. It still uses dot, okay? But this is general norm. You burn that one into your memory bank. The last note before a change of syllable always has full syllabic value. And that's the way they phrase it. The last note before a change of syllable always has that syllable's value. In this case, what? It's the accent. So I want to make sure that I really hear that note here. So let's take that one again and let's just say it from here, from E, 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 right? E, bid. See what we do?